Hey everybody, I recently went on a trip and I took my favorite little travel wheel, the SpinOlution pollywog, with me, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to kind of kill two birds with one stone here, because I get lots of questions from people on kind of the capacity of actually spinning more chunkier or art yarns on the smaller 4-ounce bobbins on the pollywog. And while I have addressed this in the past, that I do recommend, if you are primarily interested in having the pollywog and you want to spin art yarn or chunkier yarn, you have basically two options, or really three options. You can get the larger 12-ounce upgrade, or if you don't want to do that, the 3D printed 4-ounce bobbins give you a tad bit more room. But I purposely wanted to film this video with just the regular standard 4-ounce wooden pollywog bobbins, which you can see me spinning here. I'm spinning this first, basically I had two batts when I was doing this, and so I used, I would say, 1.5 batts to spin the chunky part, because I was going to kind of two-ply it together. So from that first 1 batt and half a batt, I spun for the chunkier part you see here, where I went through and I kind of purposely left kind of thick and thin sections, which I do talk about in my Dream Yarn course, the spinning with the thick and thin sections, which is kind of a great jump off, where you can then either do like thread ply or like kind of fancier like flame ply, or you can use thin threads, or like I'm doing in this project, just a thinner type of yarn. But oh, there's some pictures. This was the batt I wanted to show you. This was a batt from my friend Heidi's business, Cocoon Homespun. She also is the fiber artist for she blend our head fiber artist here at Crafty Housewife Yarns, and blends most of our batts, and exclusively the batts for some of our subscriptions. So I went through and pulled them apart. This was for the thinner section, because I spun one section, like I said, purposely thick and thin, and then for the other section I used about half of a batt. I went through and prepped the fiber by pulling it into sections so it would be easier to draft. And then once I ended up with kind of 1/2 that was thick and thin and 1/2 that was like just thin spun, I then two-plied them together. And this is once again just on the standard 4-ounce pollywog bobbin. And what you see me doing there was I was adjusting the tension, which is one of my bigger things I tell people to do with adjusting the tension on when you're two-plying on the smaller bobbins, helps to pull it in a little thicker. But you can see, thanks to that open hook orifice, that the two-ply thick and thin yarn, which definitely came out as like a chunky art yarn, easily goes through that, even the smallest open hook orifice, and then the open pegs on the side also let me do that with ease. So you can see my thick and thin, yeah, there we go. I wanted to be able to show in slow motion here that large section of the two-ply yarn easily going through the hook and wrapping onto the bobbin. You just want to make sure that you change pegs often, and you will probably need to increase your tension for the plying section, just to make sure that that all gets on there nice and tight. Because that's the secret, is you want to get the fiber as wound as tightly as you can onto the bobbin. And so this was 4 ounces of fiber total that I started with, and I ended up spinning it into pretty much one larger ball and one smaller ball. So all 4 ounces, because I did it thick and thin and chunky, did not go on the 4-ounce bobbin, but did end up where I ended up with two easy to spin and easy to work with little balls of yarn. So, you know, who cares that it's not all in one big one, especially coming off such a small wheel. And here I'm showing how afterwards it's easy to break down and pop back in my travel bag, so that it could easily, because we travel with like 2 kids and our dog, Jolene, you've seen walking in and out of the video clip. So, you know, space is definitely an issue we have just a Subaru Forester, which is an amazing car and I love it, but you know, we're not driving like a ginormous SUV or anything. So I totally get the space issue. You just flop up the pedals, pop it in the bag, and then there's some of my yarn. I had such a good time on this trip and being able to take my wheel with me, and I hope you enjoy some spinning as well.